Hey everyone, welcome back. It's BoBSY here once again, here with another tank talk, and this one is covering the Tier 8 Russian medium tank, the T-44. This is a heck of a medium tank to play, and it's a Tier 8, so it can be attained quite quickly if you sit down for some solid grinding. So, just going to start with some solo gameplay here. This first game is on Ensk, and I believe the next one will be on Erlenberg. Now, unfortunately, my team lost both these games, and I don't think I contributed as well as I could have, but nevertheless, you'll still see me trying to play this tank to its strengths to the very best of my ability here. So while this is going on, I'll just name a couple things about the T-44. So it's basically it's essentially your typical Russian medium tank here. It has really good camo rating for a medium tank. It's got a pretty strong turret from the front, quite protective. The front plate is somewhat protective as well. It can create some bounces with good angling against smaller caliber guns and just lower pen rounds, so on and so forth. But the big thing about this tank is it's extremely mobile. It accelerates quite quickly. As you can see there, just down that street, I got up to 40 kilometers per hour, no problem. It's got good traverse speeds. The turret turns pretty freaking fast. I would say the only downside with this tank is the final two guns, both the 122mm and the 100mm, which is what I have equipped right now. They only have 175 pen, which is fine because you want to be using the final 100mm anyways. Don't use the 122mm final package because that has half of the fire rate of the 100mm. So you're really cutting out your DPM potential there. So, because this thing has such low pen though, and it's extremely mobile, it excels as a flanker and a harasser in general. And since it has good mobility and a great camo rating and actually a fairly decent view range, it definitely can spot out enemy targets for your friendlies, your second line tanks, your more support tanks, or your long range TDs, so on and so forth. As you can see, I flew across the map quite quickly. I'm trying to help out this KV-4, this friendly KV-4 sitting just behind me and to the right next to our flag pretty much. I came back to try and help him out, but I'll end up getting absolutely butt-fucked here, and I get no assistance, so I was not very happy about that. As soon as that T-29 hit me, I turned around to deal with him, and I could have easily handled him solo. Fortunately, he smacked my loader, so I'm just trying to get him in the middle of these buildings here so I can literally circle him very effectively, but he's just getting shot after shot on me, and I have no support here. I was really hoping that the KV-4 that I came back to help would, help me in turn as well, but that didn't happen. So with a quick track on the T-29, I'm able to get around on his backside and just avoid his rotating turret, but just as the KV-4 whacks the T-29, the T-32 backed up to get a supporting shot on me there. So, like I said, we lost that game. I still gained some silver, but I didn't really deal a heck of a lot of damage. Only about, 1457. Not great damage, but, not terrible either, I suppose. I still went positive, as I suffered 1300 for getting destroyed. So you could see there, the acceleration is good, but it's not great. I wasn't able to completely circle that T-29 when I really wanted to, which is fine. So that's alright. We're going to jump into this solo game on Erlenberg here. So in this game, I played the T-44 extremely aggressively, and it got me killed pretty early. This ended up being almost a full 15-minute game because both teams had some tank destroyers that were camping on their respective sides of the ridges, which is just a horrible thing to do. They barely moved, honestly. It's just horrible. It drags out games, and it's really crappy for your teammates if you're just sitting on this back ridge here that I'm driving on, either on the west side where I am or on the east side. So you want to make sure you're pretty aggressive here on Erlenberg. So the other T-44 on the team here is directly behind me. He's the other medium tank just outside my auto spot range here. So I came behind this ridge here just in case any of their tanks rushed to this northern bridge. I'm breaking line of sight so that they don't detect me until I'm a lot closer than they expect me to be. So That's why I came out right here. And I still wasn't detected until that last second when that T-20 poked out. So nothing's looking at me. Everything is hiding behind buildings. So I take this opportunity to just close in, really close the gap and get behind some buildings here. Something in the back just blind fired at me. So this T-20 is about to poke out. I'm going to just get a sneaky shot in on him. And he will be dead in about 2 seconds here. I'm trying not to block the shot of the guy behind me. But it doesn't matter anyways, I'm able to knock this guy out. This T-28 Proto's looking right at me, and I don't need to take a nasty hit this early in the game, so I just backed right off. So, like I said, you can see right there the good mobility of the T-44. I was able to get into position very quickly, and I'm able to spot all these targets. Luckily for me, the T-29 did not shoot me right off the bat, but something in the very back still whacked me for a little over 200 hit points there, so that's alright. So the two things that can hinder the T-44, well, there's a couple, actually, major and minor things. The T-44 doesn't really have a heck of a lot of gun depression. Easy side shot on the T-29 there, trying to take him out. About to get another shot in his butt here. And then the J Panther 2 finishes him off. So one thing about the T-44, it doesn't have great gun depression. I believe it only has about -6. And the other thing, too, is that even the final gun, the 100 mil gun, doesn't have a heck of a lot of alpha damage. It has okay DPM, but the alpha is only 250, which, when you're bottom tier in this tank, it will not scare tier 9s and tier 10s. So you need to double up and play a support role, back up your higher tier friendlies, start playing a more scouting and harassing kind of role here. So I'm trying to use this dead IS body to protect my hull from this T-28 Proto while exposing only my turret. And as you can see here, there is nowhere I can pen that T-28 Proto with this 100 mil gun. It's only got 175 pen, you know, so it's tricky. But if you use it to your strengths well enough, you get used to it, and that's when you have to rely strictly on shots to the side, shots to the rear, and that's in both the hull or the turret of a lot of tanks. Even E-75s can be penned in the side with this gun. E-100s can be penned in the back of the hull or the turret. I believe just the turret, right in the middle there. E-100s can be penned with this gun. So, you know, it's difficult, but you're not a frontal attacker if you're bottom tier in this tank. You're not really a frontal attacker even if you're top tier. You still want to rely on using your mobility and your good traverse speeds. You just the awesome mobility, honestly, to flank around, get side shots, and just surprise people. So this T-28 Proto really got sick of me being here, so he came out to get me. So I put one right into the side of his mantlet. I'm trying to get behind this IS body. He puts one right into my side and takes out my ammo rack. Now I know this J Panther 2 is one shot, so I'm trying to take him out, but I just barely miss. A T-29 in the back takes out the T-28 Proto for me, and I'm able to just pull forward, try and get another shot on this J Panther 2. I barely dodged that T-28. That was very lucky for me. So J Panther 2 pulls up enough, exposes just a piece of his lower plate. I pull behind this dead IS to protect myself from the T-28, and I just turn around, whack that T-21. Done. So this T-28 is just trying to get a shot on me, and I'm just requesting help because I'm in serious trouble. I can't hurt this T-28 very well without exposing myself and just getting myself killed to his massive gun. It looks like he's got at least the 105 mil on there. So I'm just saying I need some help, guys, and I'm hoping that somebody behind me is able to shoot him in the butt. I mean, he's really exposed there. However, nobody's there. And that's why he's able to blast me. It's not like he has a lot of hit points. He only had about 700 hit points, so nobody was really able to take him out. I just stopped paying attention for a split second, and he was able to get that shot in the back of my tank and take me out. But I didn't go down without a fight. I knocked out 3 enemy tanks and dealt just under 1,800 damage. That's not too bad. Even got a sniper medal out of all of that. All my shots fired, hit a tank. Not all of them penned, but, you know, that's okay. So that's a couple solo games. Like I said, they didn't go very well, but I believe I was able to showcase the strengths of this tank there. So we're going to go back to the garage here. I'll go through some of the packages on the T-44, as well as go over the the armor modules and whatnot. Sorry, having trouble here. So opening up the packages on the T-44, it starts off with a stock engine of the V244, which I believe carries over from the T-43. And the first package has an 85mm D5T 85BM, which also carries over into this Object 136. This Object 136 gives you the enhanced treads and the upgraded turret, but you still have the stock engine. So that'll help research it before you get this 100mm D10T. And this still has the stock engine. I believe it's the stock engine. 560 horsepower, this 100mm D10T, 7.23 rounds per minute, 175 pen, 250 damage, accuracy .41. And the aim time, I believe, was 2.90 as well. This 85mm, 126 pen, 160 damage, but 12.5 rounds per minute. So when you start off with this tank, you really got to use it as a flanker and harasser, because 126 pen is just atrocious at tier 8. So you can see this 100mm LB1. This is basically the final gun, if I remember correctly. We'll see in a second here. 7.59 rounds per minute again, 2.9 aim time, so on and so forth. Now this 2.29 aim time. Sorry, this gun has slightly more accuracy over the previous 100mm. That one had 0.4, I believe. This one has 0.34. But the engine has 680 horsepower now, so you can really boot around with this engine. Now this 122mm gun, 0.43 accuracy, 3.4 aim time, 3.12 rounds per minute with 390 alpha damage. Trust me, you don't want to use that one. It really kills your DPM. And you want to make sure you research all of the packages so that you have this 100mm LB1 pre-researched for the T-44. It's available on these first two packages here, T-54 M1949 and T-54 Alpha. So if you research that, it'll help with the T-54 grind just a little bit. So I'm going to take a look at the T-43 here. You still want to fully elite the T-43 because if I remember right, there's one of the 85mm and one of the engines carries over. There's the V244 in the final two packages there with the 85mm D5T 85BM. Those both carry both those modules carry over into, I believe, two of the packages on the T-44. So it'll make the T-44's grind a little bit easier for you. Make sure you fully research T-43 before you move on. So that's basically the packages for the T-44 there. Now the equipment that I have on right now, naturally I have coated optics. This is a medium tank. Coated optics. The toolbox there is just temporary until I finish training repairs. Then I'm switching it for a wet ammo rack and a medium caliber tank gun rammer to reduce the loading time and increase that DPM. I strongly recommend a wet ammo rack. It's very easy for this thing to get ammo racked. Now with the skills, I simply started with Sixth Sense as usual, and repairs is what I'm working on next. After that, I'm not sure what I'll do. I might just go for safe stowage so I can double up wet ammo rack and safe stowage. So that's some of the packages and equipment of the T-44. Let's take a look at the armor models now. So from the front, you can see it's a lot more protected. The driver can still get knocked out with a penning shot on the left side of the front hull, and the lower plate is an obvious weak point. But the turret's fairly strong. There's still a tiny commander's hatch on the top left side, but it's very small and very difficult to hit. So really the only weak points on the front are the lower and upper front plate. The upper front plate can actually be penned by many very high caliber guns that you'll start seeing at tiers 8, 9, and 10. So it's best just to keep your hull protected as best as possible. Try to use hull down whenever you can and protect it with rocks. Now, this is what I'm talking about. This is the left side of the T-44. Shots in the turret can knock out your gunner, knock out your commander, or even ammo rack you. Shots in the lower hull can ammo rack you or damage your engine. And those little fuel tanks on the side can be damaged and catch fire, and then you're in serious trouble. Like I said, this thing is quite vulnerable from the side, so that's part of the reason why I'm going to put a wet ammo rack on this thing once I finish training repairs, and I'm also going to train safe stowage. And I also recommend, at the very least, try and get firefighting and preventative maintenance for skills. if you're going to keep this tank. So from the rear, pretty much the entire rear of the tank is a weak point. The rear of the turret can be penned easily, and there's a good chance to get ammo racked. The rear of the tank can be penned very easily, and your engine or your fuel tank will get damaged. Both can catch you on fire quite easily. So if you're engaging another tank and you're fighting it out at each other, don't turn your ass to them ever. Keep your butt pointed away from the enemy as best as you can. If something sneaks up behind you, then you can be in serious trouble quickly. So make sure you're paying good attention to the map and what's going on around you at all times. Not like I did with that T-29 on Angst there, as you saw earlier. And of course on the right side, similar thing. Shots in the rear of the turret can ammo rack hit. Near the middle and the front of the turret can take out your loader. He dies pretty often. Make sure you have a small repair kit. Center of the hull can ammo rack you. Even those little boxes sitting on the right side of the side skirt there, those can ammo rack you. Fuel tanks on the rear right as well. And big engine block in the very back of the tank. So like I said, you want to make sure that any tanks you're fighting, try not to give them shots in your side. You want to try to absorb shots with your tracks. Let your tracks get knocked out, or just keep hull down with your turret facing them at all times as best as possible. So, gonna jump into a game on Fisherman's Bay here. This one I'm actually platooned. I can't remember how many of us there are though, but we're all playing tier 8s here. So you'll see, get a bit of a better idea of how you can use this tank when you're in a platoon. This one goes actually quite horribly because me and Food Stamps played super aggressive. We ran straight for the flag in the city here, and I really didn't do much. I wasn't really paying 100% attention like I normally do, to be totally honest. So it goes pretty badly, and we end up losing this one as well. So it's me and Food Stamps both are in mediums, and Sand M9 is in an IS-3 heavy tank. Food Stamps in his Panther 2. So I'm just following Food Stamps here. He got ahead of me because he went straight for the town, and I kind of dilly-dallied in the middle, figuring I don't know where I want to go, and then I decided I'll just follow Food Stamps here. So rolling in, we're definitely top tier, and I got a nice on-the-move shot on that VK3001. The on-the-move accuracy of this thing it's not great, but it's acceptable. The aim time is a little something to be desired. So if that really bothers you, and you don't want to bother with something like a wet ammo rack, you have safe stowage trained or something, well, by all means, get a vertical stabilizer or a gun laying drive for equipment. Took a bad hit there from the VK3001, but he only shot me in the track and damaged my track. So I poke out, got a high roll damage shots for 279, and knocked him out. So right there you can see the advantages of having this 100mm gun over the 122. It has better accuracy, it has better aim time, and more importantly, it has better DPM. I'm able to poke out and get those quick shots, and even get some of those really clutch on-the-move shots and hit my target. So Food Stamps is trying to side scrape and bait this IS-3 into coming out so I can get side shots, but this artillery blast just wrecked me. 3 modules damaged and 3 crew members dead. Commander, driver, and loader all gone because he knocked me right in the turret. So that's what I'm talking about. My fuel tank was damaged, my ammo rack was damaged, 3 crew members dead from an arty shell to the top of my turret. Very vulnerable if you're not paying attention. And an arty shell that actually hits the top of your turret will absolutely wreck you. So, another thing you can also see is I have extra combat rations equipped here. I eventually took those off. I got rid of the large repair and first aid kits and just did the usual small repair, small first aid, and manual fire extinguisher. The combat rations were mostly just there to help with general crew skills while I'm training crews and whatnot. So stupidly, I was trading shots with this KB3, which was a very bad idea because Food Stamps was just side scraping with the Panther 2 here, keeping this left side at bay. He's pretty unhurt, but me on the other hand, I'm absolutely getting fucked up. That artillery shot just screwed me over. So I started loading up some APCR because I figured, well, I just need some better pen. I have to make sure I get some damage, but I wasn't paying attention, backed up too far, and there's 3 heavy tanks just lined up here, and they wrecked me. Easy shots in my front. So we lost that one. Eventually Food Stamps got taken out. Sand M9 was the last one alive on our team, so I didn't do very good that game. It was pretty awful, but you were able to see the on-the-move capabilities of this 100mm gun. that's equipped on here, which is pretty nice. So moving on, we're just going to forget that game ever happened. Moving on to Redshire. Standard battle here. Again, I'm platooned with Food Stamps in his Panther 2. And I forget who I have for third in this TD. Oh, it's Sandem 9 again. He's in his Tier 9 SU-122 54. And me and Food Stamps are in Tier 8 mediums. Bit of a failed platoon, sort of. Threw us in a Tier 10 game. Upon seeing that, I immediately looked at the FB-215B-183 and the Yagaroo. Now, the Yagaroo, I know I pretty much have to get behind him to pen him if it comes to that. The 183, I should be able to pen him from the sides in the lower portions of his hull near the back, or the rear of his hull and or turret, is what I figure. And the AMX-50B, it's an AMX-50B. I'm not worried if whether or not I'll pen an AMX-50B. I mean, they're basically made of cardboard, so not too concerned about that. So starting off, I'm just playing an aggressive scouting role, just moving into Death Valley here, waiting for some friendlies to catch up. 2 heavy tanks behind Food Stamps there as well. But poking over, I got spotted right away, and I'm not sure what from, so I just backed right off. I didn't want to get whacked by a big gun right in the game there. This tank only has 1,300 hit points with the fully upgraded turret, so when you're bottom tier, you'd have to play extremely careful because a lot of those big guns with 850 Alpha will absolutely wreck you. And even something like a Yagaroo or a Death Star, if they high roll, they'll kill you in one straight shot. It could be a pretty bad day. And it's a similar thing with artillery. You could tell, I mean, not only on that last game did an M12, which doesn't really have a super high, it's not really a super high alpha artillery, but it shoots pretty quickly. That's the M12 for you. It just got a shot on the top of my turret, and that's basically, he penned me with that HE shell, whacked me for a lot of damage, and knocked out half of my crew, well, sorry, 3/4 of my crew, and about 1/3 of my modules. It was pretty gnarly, so I had to use the large repair and first aid to fix all of those up. So I got a clutch on the move shot on that 183. Again, the on the move accuracy of this thing, when you have to start moving, you can get a shot off, or when you start slowing down, you can get a shot off, and you're more than likely to hit. Whether you pen or not, that's something to be desired, but it was just a bit of a Hail Mary shot there. I figured I have one chance to get a shot on this thing. I need to hurt him. That side shot on the E50, I wasn't expecting it to pen. At worst, it bounced, which it did. At best, it would hit his commander's hatch and pen him. So the C50 rolled over, exposing his lower plate, so I just put a friendly shot saying hi there into his lower plate. Now at this point, I'm actually just trying to damage some higher tier tanks here. I figure, you know, what the hell, I'll get good XP if I damage these tier 9 tanks, and that'll be good XP transferring to the crew, as this is a tank that I intend to keep for one of my tier 8 mediums. So I'm just trying to position here. We've got some of our top tier, well, not really top tier, but higher tier heavies up here. Another E75 rolled in for us. And there's a second E75 on my left side there, and we have 2 TDs further ahead on the left there. An Object 704 and something else. I'm not sure what it is. I don't think I actually look at it, so I'm just waiting for an opportunity to poke out, get a sneaky shot off in the side of the C75's turret. It looks like he's turned, so I poke out, fire a shot, figured what the heck. His turret wasn't turned far enough. His flat piece of armor wasn't turned far enough over. So the T-110E3, which is the second TD with this, he just rolls up and blasts at E75 for us and takes him out. So I'm looking for a side shot in this 183. The 704 takes up whatever that other TD was. So I see the C50 backing up, get a nice shot into the side of his turret, drop him down to a one shot. E75 immediately finishes him off. So the 183 was left completely helpless, as I believe he was reloading. So we just swarmed him and took him out. So on the left side there, it looks like Sand M9 and the other 2/3 of the team were able to mop up the center area pretty quickly and quite effectively. We're up 8-3 right now, and I know we took out about 5 on our side, I believe. So just rolling in, looking for Artie, trying to knock out Artie, and then we're going to do what we mediums do best at this late stage in the game. We're going to flank behind the higher tier tank destroyers and heavy tanks and just get side and rear shots in them to take them down quickly and quietly, basically. So we see Sand M9 tussling with a heavy and a Another 183 it looks like over there. Food stamps heads to the left to go help support our teammates. I'm just staying on the right side here. I'm just going to stay undetected as best as possible. I want to try and get close so that I can make my shots count from behind. This isn't the most accurate gun, and I want to make use of that. So I see this tortoise back here. He knows he's spotted, so he immediately started moving, but he didn't detect me until this GW Tiger P poked over, and for some reason there was a GW Tiger P that spotted me. So I get a side shot in the GW Tiger P. I want him gone before he wrecks any of my teammates. And then the E75 on the far right is able to take him out. So I start switching up some APCR in here for this tortoise. He's pretty well armored. Even the weak points are fairly well armored for me, so I figure I could use the extra pen for aiming at his weak points. He's backing up, and I hit him at such a sharp angle that I did no damage there, so I figure something will take him out. T-57 Heavy clips him out, so I just switch back to normal AP. Food Stamps is up there brawling it out like a boss, and I'm just trying to close in and get some help here. It won't happen, but something even better happens. Food Stamps takes out one of the two TDs, and then he'll actually close in and ram this last TD. It's pretty funny. Right there, boom. T-28 kills him because he had 50 hit points. The T-28's quite a bit heavier than a Panther II. It was just really funny to see. So 54 E1 is going to roll up and clip out that T-28 right there. Actually, sorry, artillery got him. My mistake. So, right there, like I said, not a great game, but I was still able to contribute. I did some scouting, some initial scouting, a bit of flanking, and I got some spotting damage as well. Just under 2,000 spotting damage. I had 5 penetrating hits, so I got some damage in, you know, just to help bring down those higher tier hard targets, right? Damage is damage, is essentially what it is. So, moving along, final game here on Siegfried Line. In a bigger platoon, there's 5 of us now. I've got Dirty Kid Joe and Icev, Def Jax, and Driz Grizzly. I believe me and Icev were in the mediums, and the other 3 were in the heavies. This 1375, I was actually going to try and move for him, but he ended up turning directly into me. So, that's why he shot at me. I guess it was my fault. Oh well. Sorry, my mistake. It looks like Def Jax is in the Indian Panzers. So Icev, Driz Grizzly, and Dirty Kid Joe are in various Tier 8 heavy tanks, and we're top tier here. So we see there's a full platoon, also top tier on the other team, so we figure, okay, we're going to have to take the fight to the city here. So I'm just closing into the city, staying on people's flanks, making sure that there's no YOLOing light tanks that are going to rush in and spot our guys still trying to get into a position, or the Borsig behind me or something like that. So the medium tank on the far right side, he's not spotting anything down this eastern street, so just pull forward a bit, see if I can see what's going on here. Now I figure, okay, maybe I can get close and get a side shot. Nope, T-28 Proto spotted me, and he starts aiming at me, so I'm going, I need to get out of here. It's way too early to take a nasty hit from a 28 Proto. And I also noticed that scout tank on the far right. So I just turned around, started coming back. Looks like the fight's really progressing in the middle there. Driz Grizzly is right up in front, spearheading with his KV-4, which is pretty awesome. So I come out and I notice his T-32 just says, fuck it, I'm going in. I'm not sure what he was doing here, but I figured he needs to go. So I just chased him down, got some extra shots into his backside here, while the Borsig and this other medium tank on the far back left there were also shooting at him. So I just rolled up, gave him a friendly hello in the butt. He's gone, out of the game. One less heavy tank to deal with. So looking over here, I see I have potential shots in this T-34. I figure I gotta move quick, but then he moves right into my line of fire. Get a nice shot into his hull for 226. Not bad. So I just backed up just enough to keep this little crest right in front of me, protecting my hull, and only my turret's sticking out. So I've got enough of a shot if the T-34 moves closer or this Pershing pulls up, but my shot went low and ate dirt there. I pretty much only had a shot on that Pershing's turret anyways, so that's when we all noticed that this scout tank is just YOLOing across. So I tried to get a shot on him, didn't work out, he's behind the hill, I figured screw it. Borsig took him out anyways, so I knew I didn't have to worry about him. So looking in, I see this T-28 Proto is completely solo, nobody's really watching his back. and this light tank is going in and it's going to start damaging him. So with the T-28 Proto distracted, I figure I can pull forward and get some side shots in this battle going on in the middle, and I immediately see this one-shot Tiger 2, so I just aim in, take him out of the game. One less top-tier heavy tank to deal with. So I also see the T-28 Proto's one shot. Pulling around, did not see the KV-4, doesn't matter. T-28 Proto's gone. So just before I back up, gonna get a shot into this KV-4, figure screw it, didn't really work out. So KV-4 gets another shot on me. So I'm half dead, he knocked out my ammo rack, so I need to repair that. So I notice he's backing up. The rest of the team is being dealt with by my platoon in city. So I notice he's backing up. He broke line of sight, and he just fired. So this is my time to go. He's reloading. He broke line of sight. He won't even know I'm coming. He doesn't know until about now. That's when he sees me, and he tries to bring it around, but not fast enough. Misses shot. Boom. Side shot into him. Now he's backed up so far into the building, he can't even turn his hull with me. So just reloading, and bang. That's the game. My platoon and the rest of the team was able to clean up the rest of the Reds in the town there, which was pretty nice. So this game, not a heck of a lot of damage, but I knocked out 4 tanks, which was pretty big for securing the win on this game here. Not bad at all. 1230 damage, but 4 tanks knocked out for 4th place on our team. Anyways, that's some T-44 gameplay, guys. Hope you really enjoyed it. This is a good little medium tank to pick up. We'll see you next time. Mobius Y out.